Hey, it's Will back again doing more of the aquarium for iPhone, the Instant Aquarium type game. Alright, we're diving in now. I think this is tank 2-2, and we get to select three pets. Let's start with Clyde, the pet we just unlocked. And so Clyde is going to collect some money for us as he drifts around the tank. And who else? Probably Nico and Stinky, sure. So two money collectors and then a money producer with the Nico. Alright, just diving into it. The fish... Yeah, you see when they get on top of the food, if you place the food like right on top of them, they'll struggle to get it on this phone version of the game. One thing that's different about this game on the iOS than the original Instant Aquarium as well is I believe it charges you for food when you fight against that enemy that eats food. I think we'll see him actually in this level. He comes into the tank, and rather than just hitting the alien with a laser just by tapping on it, you actually have to feed it. And I think it actually charges us the 5 coins. It charges us every time we drop a food here, like right now. It'll charge me 5. I think it still charges me 5 for the alien, whereas in the desktop version of the game, whenever you're feeding the alien, it'll be free. The only problem with charging 5 when fighting the alien on the phone is that, you know, you can run out of money, and if you run out of money with that alien guy in the tank, he will, you just lose because there's no way you can get him out of your tank. And this is not exactly that guy there. He's still around the aliens that require hitting them with that. Just tapping on the screen, hitting them with the laser. That's active only when they're in the tank. Let's see. Another fish here. Having Clyde and Stinky the Snail in the tank, two pets that collect money, is pretty useful when you have a tank that just has a ton of stuff going on. When it's pretty chaotic, you have a bunch of fish, it's super helpful to double down on that ability to collect coins. And those are the only two pets that do that, where they will collect coins for you. So you unlock the two that do that pretty early, which is pretty useful. Cool. And so yeah, we unlocked this new guy at the top here from having a big fish. We're gonna have to drop one of him in the tank, 750. Enemy approaching. We'll do this after the enemy alien goes away here. There we go. But these guys, these 750 guys at the top there, they actually eat stars. So we had seen in a previous episode the star potion. That's the $250 green potion at the top there. And we feed those to big fish, and they, rather than producing coins, they produce these stars. And these guys here, these little blue creatures, eat those stars, and then they'll produce diamonds. Diamonds are the same as what the aliens drop and what the carnivores in the previous tank dropped. So what I want to do is get a bunch of guppies to their full state of being the largest fish, and then I'll feed them a bunch of those potions, and then once we have stars, we can feed the blue creatures. We'll drop some of them into the tank. Alright, cool. So we're getting closer, and yeah, we don't have too many fish. Once these medium-sized guppies mature, I will drop in those star potions. One thing we do have to watch out for with two money-collecting pets, I was just talking about how great they are, is that they'll actually collect the stars and keep the blue guys from being able to eat them. So that's something to watch out for. It looks like we're mostly matured now, but now they're all matured. So the next time they go to eat these fish here, I'll drop in a bunch of star potions. Alright, so some of them are hungry here, so we can go ahead and start dropping them in. And getting some of these starfish creatures. Okay. Getting hungry, drop a couple of these in. And put one more of these in here. Cool. So that's probably enough. Yeah, so let's go ahead and invest in one of those guys. Alright, he'll eat the star and then produce a diamond. He's got to beat Stinky to it. There he goes. And so you have to have a consistent supply of stars in order to feed them. What I'm probably going to do, since this is a $3,000 here for what we need for the egg, per eggshell, I'll probably just invest in a lot of guppies for this episode, this level here, and then eventually we'll want to rely more on these Star Eater guys, and then probably not use 2 money collecting pets. So let's just invest in a bunch of guppies here and feed them. Alright, purchase the first eggshell there. Let's get some more guppies. And second eggshell here in a second. We'll buy that. We're at 2,800. We gotta get. There's 3,000. And the final stretch, working our way back up to 3,000 one last time in order to purchase the last shell there. Alright, we're at 2,200. Getting closer, 2,300, 2,500. Alright, 300 more to go, and there we go. Cool. So Vert the Skeleton, he's going to act like a large fish, dropping the gold coins like the guppies do when they're at full health, but he can help you out by giving you a financial boost earlier in the game by just dropping the gold coins from the get-go, whereas we have to typically raise the guppies in order to get them to a point where they can produce those gold coins for us. I often like to use Nico and Vert just as good money producers in the early game to give you the boost to buy guppies. Another useful pet we'll get down the line allows us to actually unlock everything from the start. He gives you all sorts of information on the level, but yeah, you can see Vert here is dropping those coins for us. Pretty useful to help us get a financial boost earlier in the game to afford a third fish right off the bat. Here's another financial boost from Nico. Buy a fourth guppy. I've been talking about that alien now for a few levels here, the last level, and I believe I talked about him in a previous video, but I'm antsy to see when he'll show up. The one you have to feed, you have to kind of lure him rather than zapping him. Feed him a bunch of food. Let's see. This is enemy approaching at the bottom. Oh, here we go. A new breed of alien is fast approaching. Lasers can't hurt. Yep, this is the one I was talking about with feeding this alien about to come into the tank here. Alright, there he is. And super hard. Oh yeah, he's just wreaking havoc on the tank. It's super hard when you can only drop one food at a time to kill him fast. And you can see it is charging me 5 coins per food there. So yeah, he just destroyed my tank here. So we're gonna have to rebuild. But once I have access to drop more than one food at a time, he can wander a little bit less and is a little easier to deal with. But yeah, that was a pretty devastating. And if the aliens eat all of your fish, which you saw me get down to 1 there, if he manages to eat all of them, then you just lose the level and have to restart. So this food alien is pretty challenging in these earlier levels here. Yeah, with the fish bopping around like that, it's super hard to feed them. A guppy just died there. But with the financial boost from Nico and Vert, it makes it a little less of a financial burden. It just slows us down in tempo for the level, completing it as fast as possible. So, awesome. We got our first big fish here, so let's get some more effective food and get our fish fed. Fish. Get off the ground. I'm tripping here on this level, getting started, but fish, another fish. We have that guy's coming back. It's a lot easier to get him when you can drop a bunch of food at a time. That way he's always like following the food rather than being able to wander and eat your fish. And I believe he has like the same food threshold as the guppies. So since I upgraded my food to these red and white pills, the max food, it's going to do more damage to this alien here. It almost seems like a bribe or something that we're feeding him to leave. In order to defeat him, we have to feed him. Gaining some momentum here. I think in this level I'm going to have to spend more on those eggshells. We had to spend 3,000 per shell, so 9,000 total, but we're going to need to produce a better economy in the tank, and so I'm going to want to invest in more of these blue guys, which means I need to raise more guppies and get them to the max so I can have a bunch of stars going around, falling around to feed those blue guys who drop diamonds, a much more valuable pickup. Some more guppies here. Alright, the enemy's coming back, it seems. There he is. He's just not following the food at all. He's just going entirely for the guppies. That's a super big problem for me. Like, there was food all over the tank and he was just going straight for the guppies. That is kind of odd. But, let's keep trying to rebuild here. And yeah, Insane Aquarium's cool. It's just a really relaxing game. But as far as creating video content around it, it can get kind of dry at times once you get over the threshold of learning about the new types of aliens and kind of the mechanics of the levels. The only new thing that happens is getting new pets, so there's not a whole lot more to talk about once you get towards these later stages. And by later stages, I'm only on level 2, 3, and we have 20 levels total. And so, what are we on? We're on level 8. We're on 20, I believe, right now. Alright, so now most of our fish are matured. And we got that guy coming back in here. Probably gonna massacre my fish again rather than going for the food. Oh, okay, he spawned right here at the bottom. And all of our fish are matured here, so rather than feeding them this time, I'm just going to go for these potions, start dropping them in, and creating some starfish. Fish that produce stars. Starfish in here. Where is it? Oh, I don't have enough money. Oops. I was trying to buy those potions there, and I was like wondering why I couldn't do it. Let me return to the menu there. Yeah, my dollars, the amount of money I have went away at the top there when I maxed that out a bunch of times there. But, the number there went away, so I just go back to the menu to restart that to make sure that stays on the page there. Alright, so now we have a bunch of stars being produced, so let's invest in a couple of those guys who eat the stars and can produce some diamonds. Alright, we're getting some hungry fish, so let's invest in the tank again and again get to the point where I'm maxing out how many I can produce. And invest in all of those guys. And so upgrading our laser weapon there is not going to be very useful in this level, just because I believe the only alien that's going to come is that the one who eats food, so it's not going to be too effective. I've been keeping him at the bottom, but now that I have some guys there at the bottom, it's going to be a little harder to beat him. And it's so ineffective when the fish swim into him. They don't have the common sense to stay away when there's an alien in the tank. Let's grow another generation of fish here, and yep, so 5,000 is what we need for those eggshells. But I'm going to grow another generation of fish here to produce a lot more starfish, and drop in some more of those guys. I'm not sure what they're called, the blue creature at the bottom of the tank there. The star eaters, I guess. I think they do have a technical name, I'm just not sure what it is. We could afford one eggshell here. I'm actually just going to buy 2 more of these star eater guys. In the tank. Since there are plenty of stars I see go into the bottom of the tank, meaning that there's plenty of stars to go around, and keep feeding them so they don't die off. Yeah, we're almost at 10,000 here, so that's almost 2 eggshells we can afford. Enemy approaching. I'm going to stop dropping food into the tank here for a second. This one just wreaks havoc, especially on mobile here with such a small screen. He just wreaks havoc on the tank. 10,000, so we can afford 2 shells here. Let me stop dropping food now that we have a fully matured generation here, and instead I'm going to drop in a bunch of these potions, so I can produce a bunch of stars. Alright, that's probably enough. Cool. Let's see, so we only need 5,000 more. Let me just buy 1 eggshell here. I'm going to keep trying to upgrade my fish here. I didn't get a whole lot of fish upgraded, but that's probably enough. That's definitely enough. Buy a couple of these guys and get all the way up to 5,000. There's one more time. We have to get up to 5,000 here. And investing in the largest producer in the economy here is pretty useful in this Insane Aquarium game here, just because it helps you get to a high amount of money in the game really quickly to be able to complete each level. We're almost at 5,000 again here, and this should bring me all the way to 5,000 with these last gems here. There we go. Alright, Rufus the crab. So Rufus is going to fight the enemies at the bottom of the tank. He'll walk around in the bottom, and just like Itchy the swordfish, he'll fight the enemies, but this is only if they're at the bottom of the tank, if I can get him down there. So yeah, I guess that would about wrap it up for this episode. I'll wrap it up here, but in the next one we'll dive into a tank with Rufus and continue on with the aquarium and Insane Aquarium for iOS. So yeah, this has been Will Middleton. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video.